on my way to Hobbiton, and here's the big surprise. I'm the only person on the way there. This is Dallas, like Dallas, Texas. He said that usually there are four, like 4,000. Oh no, in Hobbiton, how many people?
Yeah,
4,000? 4,000 in a week?
In a day.
In a day, and now there might be 40. So I'm in for quite a treat, looking forward to it. So this part of the drive is called the Glades, and I am loving how different this landscape is. Huh. Sorry, the name of the town is? T-Row. Like, oh my God, what?
Those are public toilets over there on our
That's hilarious.
right, so I'm sure you can work out what they are.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
It's over 20 years ago that they filmed these movies.
And so the cattle have taken over now?
Yeah, cows have taken over. There's still a working sheep farm that we're going to be visiting today. The story goes that Peter Jackson was flying around on a Saturday morning around this area looking for the right location to make these movies. Found this spot, went and knocked on the farmer's door. Mr. Alexander didn't want to talk to me, he was too busy that day, he was going to watch rugby. Saturday morning it was far more important to go and watch sport.
Well, of course.
So Peter Jackson decided better come back on Monday and knock on his door again, and finally convinced him that this would be a great idea for him to make these movies on his farm. And of course today that farmer, a very wealthy man.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's the story, but I'll tell you all about it. So here's where we sort of meet up, and then you hop on buses and you go down over to the right of us, down onto the sea.
Oh, there's a lot of sheep.
As you can see, it's dead quiet, only about half a dozen people there.
Oh my God, that's insane.
There's a cafe and you get a coffee or a cold drink or anything. Down the sea in the souvenir shops. Toilets down the other end. But you hop on these buses here.
The Hobbiton bus.
On the Hobbiton bus.
I guess a lot of them are not going to be used.
Yeah, they're all parked up.
Wow.
And they take you down onto the farm itself and down onto the set. So you're going for about 2.5 hours. And I'll bring you back up here and I'll be waiting for you.
Here's a look at the gift shop. So I'm here at the Hobbiton movie set. Check this out. Actually, I'm gonna have to switch to the other angle. There are two things that are really impressive. One is, well, that. And we're about to take a bus and go see it. And the other is that there's virtually nobody here. I think I've seen, if there's 40 people here like Dallas said earlier, that's probably about it. And apparently usually this is peak tourist season. So I am doubly lucky to be at the Hobbiton movie set with like no tourists. It's pretty awesome.
I'm getting the stack right.
Thank you.
I'm about to ruin your day. You've all been studying up on the movies. You know which movies I'm talking about? Star Wars, yep. And the previous owners had it since the 1940s, so it still is quite an old farm. It's a dual-purpose dry stock farm. 13,000 sheep, 300 cows. These are our New Zealand Romney sheep, and they are bred for their meat and their wool. As you can see, they just had a haircut, and the wool will go off to China, and they'll make it into carpet. You can see the homestead on the right-hand side of the Alexander family, just at the door. like my sound effects. And it was one of the film scouts from New Line Cinema in California. See, the sheep will always try and stop the bus. It's annoying, especially in these older buses. And he was watching the rugby, so this guy wanted to have a look around the farm. And at that time, it was 1998 by the way, and at that time he was sitting down watching the rugby. There was helicopters flying over, which I'm sure he would have heard. And they were radioing, communicating with the people on the ground. And one of them turned down Buckland Road. And he was told to come and talk to the owner of the farm about looking around the farm. Because from the air, looking down, they were looking for three main features before they could actually even think about building the village of Hobbiton. They needed a tree, party tree. They needed a lake, or we actually nicknamed that Lake Russell, which is Ian's son, and you'll hear from him next. And then the rising hill for Bag End. We all know who lives in Bag End, right? We'll talk about that on tour today. And so this guy went around, had a look around the farm. Ian just said to him, yep, get to it, shut all the gates and don't mix my sheep up. And he sat down and he watched that second half of the rugby, as you do. And he didn't hear from anybody for about 6 weeks. And the first person to contact Ian was that same film scout, wanting to bring through another crew and spend a day out here walking around the property. And it was actually Dan Henner, who was the art director. It was John Howe and Alan Lee, who did all the sketching. They were the conceptual artists. And they've actually done some sketches up in the cafe on the wall. And they presented those sketches. They had a book of sketches that they presented to the Alexanders. And so they spent a day out here looking around, checking out these different areas, scoping the areas. And then the next day they discussed contracts. Of course, there was Peter Jackson here as well. 2-course breakfast, a 2-course lunch, and a 3-course dinner. So no excuses for skinny or hungry hobbits. In fact, I think they had the opposite problem. They'd cater for about 500 people a day, so there's a lot to feed. Don't forget 11sies and second breakfast and supper.
Oh, wow. It's such a special experience to just walk through these sets that you've seen in the movies. And even if it's been a while since you've seen them, your mind is like, wow, I know that I've seen this before. And there's just something just so special and wonderful about walking through here.
Here's one right here.
I think I know.
So this is stunningly beautiful. And we're just walking in a very small tour group to see all of the little houses and getting a description of what we're seeing and what movies they were in. And you can hear a leaf blower and sheep and frogs on occasion. That's where we're going to have a drink.
Yeah.
The ground here is pretty slippery, as you're about to see and hear. We learned that the Green Dragon was only an outside for the movie, and it's only more recently that it's a pub. So our tour concludes with a free drink, and I'm having the special stout made only here. I was surprised. I'm not a beer drinker, but well, actually I am a beer drinker, but not. I like wine better. I actually quite like the stout. Quite good. And this has been a beautiful, beautiful tour and day here at Hobbiton. And I hope you liked this episode of Travel Adventures with Heather. If you did, please hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And feel free to drop by my website for more fun travel tips and blogs at www.heatherbegins.com. Catch you on the next video.